I'm Erik Jacobson, Shakopee High School class of 1995. I'm proud to say I was born and raised in Shakopee. I've got one younger brother, Ross. I went to Pearson Elementary School, obviously junior high and high school. For activities, when I grew up, some youth sports. I was in Boy Scouts where I attained the rank of Eagle Scout. In high school, I was involved with band. I played the percussion and bassoon, which is kind of an interesting mix of instruments there. For sports, I played golf for a couple of years till I convinced myself that maybe that wasn't for me. I wasn't all that great. So I shifted over to do cross country and track my senior year. And I received an appointment to go to the Air Force Academy upon graduation, which I did in '95. So just a couple short weeks after graduating from high school, I reported to U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs for basic cadet training. And it was off to the races at that point. The Academy obviously is a very rigorous and challenging curriculum, but also it has tons of opportunities. I majored in military history. I had the opportunity to do parachute training, got my jump wings, went through survival training, and one of my favorite opportunities was I got to become an instructor pilot in the Academy's glider program. So I graduated from the Air Force Academy in '99 and was directly commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force. Went through pilot training in Texas, where I met my beautiful wife. After that, I went to F-16 training and got to fly the mighty F-16 Fighting Falcon, or like we all call it, the Viper. Awesome platform. Got to do, train to do air-to-air, like dogfighting, as well as air-to-surface attacks. After that, I transitioned over to fly the F-117 Nighthawk, the stealth fighter, which is a very unique platform and a great opportunity. I was blessed to be one of the last bandits, as we were called, to fly that platform. And I was an instructor pilot in that as well. After that, I got to fly the MQ-1 Predator, which I got a ton of experience in operationally. Basically, it's unmanned aircraft, or as the Air Force refers to it as remotely piloted aircraft. And I was an evaluator pilot, which meant that I gave check rides and checkouts to the younger pilots in that. I also had the opportunity to be on staff several times, both in the Pentagon and in Europe. I deployed a handful of times to the Middle East, to Iraq and Afghanistan, which is not that unusual for anyone who's been in the military, obviously, for the last 20 years. Places we lived, well, let me run down the list. So after Colorado Springs, Idaho, Texas, Arizona, Alaska, New Mexico, Nevada, Las Vegas, Virginia, back to Nevada, Germany, and now finally back to Virginia again. My last assignment prior to retiring, just a couple short weeks ago, was working in the Office of the Secretary of Defense, working on intelligence issues. Well, I think as a whole, looking back at the entirety of my military career, I guess I'm proud to take part in something that's bigger than myself, and a lot of people, I guess, in the military think that way as well. Specifically, it was an honor to help support the soldiers and Marines, the guys who are boots on ground, and provide them the air cover necessary to not only accomplish their mission, but bring them home safely. That meant a lot to me, recent roles. So ultimately, I was really honored to promote to the rank of Colonel in the Air Force prior to retirement. And finally, one singular event that I'm pretty proud of, I was selected to go, and honestly, this is one of those being in the right place in the right time kind of events, but I was invited to go to the White House to be invited to a state dinner to honor the veterans of the Iraq War. And so my wife and I got to attend. We met the President, First Lady, Secretary of Defense, etc., which is a pretty unique opportunity, and one that I won't forget anytime soon. I consider myself fortunate to command an Air Force flying squadron. And the squadron itself is fundamentally who you identify with in the Air Force. It's your sense of belonging, it's the patch you wear on your shoulder. People don't say they work for the Air Force, they say they're in the Air Force. And there's a fundamental difference there, and that's really what they're talking about. And so my squadron, the 15th Attack Squadron, had 192 personnel. The women and men of the 15th, outstanding airmen, outstanding Americans. And I was just honored to serve them as their commander. And it was truly the highlight of my career. The list is endless, but I got to keep this kind of short, so I'll think of some highlights. So I'd like to thank Barb Cordes for just setting the stage with some great, outstanding after-school care. I want to say thank you to my godmother, Brenda, and Arlen Hohen for your love and support through the years. Looking back at Scouts, Wally Kapiska and Steve Thomas for their volunteerism, leadership, and just time spent with the troop meant a lot. The faculty from elementary school to high school is outstanding. In English in high school, Mrs. Cook and Mr. Pavlish really set me up well, I think, for college, especially for some of the writing I had to do as a history major. I think back at Coach LaCourse and Coach Alex for cross country and track. I did an amazing job, and I really appreciate their efforts. And last but certainly not least, my parents, Ron and Mary, for their love and support through the years. Thank you. So here's my advice. Things aren't going to work out as you planned. That sounds bad, so let me explain. It's actually a good thing. Whatever happens, whatever plan you've got through college and career, things are going to change. And fundamentally, it's how you handle those changes. They might seem like setbacks initially, but truthfully, they're opportunities. But it's how you handle it and how you proceed that's really going to set you apart from others. I know from my own experience, I didn't plan my career out exactly like this, and that's okay. And looking back at it, I think I wouldn't change anything for the world. So things have a way of working out. The most successful people I know through my career had that one common trait. It wasn't necessarily because they're extra lucky or had extra skills that others didn't have. A lot of it just came down to attitude, how they handled setbacks and made the most of it. And that's something that I just want you to take along, think through, and you're obviously going to do great things in your careers. It's been a little while since high school, so I was not expecting this. It was a surprise, and I was taken back for just a minute. But I'm truly honored and humbled by this recognition. It means a lot to me. I'm very appreciative. And I'd also like to say, though, that whenever these type of recognitions occur, there's always a host of unsung heroes. I have tons of other classmates from 95 who'd gone off to do great things in their careers. And so by recognizing this for my individual efforts is great, but also I want to recognize this on behalf of the rest of the class of 95. And finally, just one last shout out to the current students at Shakopee High School. Best of luck in your future. We're really excited for you. And go Sabres.